Meeting is now streaming. Hey, everybody. Welcome to, this is just me getting on and saying hello and making some announcements. I'm just going to get the link going here for a Twitter announcement. For those of you watching, hello. I'm just getting on here to talk a little bit about what's happening with the children that we sponsor with the pool. I'm Ray, I'm the state pool operator for GROW, and I'm just here to talk a little bit about some trouble that Ethiopia appears to be in and the impact that is having specifically on the children that we sponsor with the pool, and really any of the recipients of the Global Action Fund that we are donating all of our profits to. I'm just kind of setting up a link here so I can let everybody on Twitter know. Feel free to comment, please, and ask any questions or anything like that. I'm just setting up the show right now. Okay. All right. All right, hi everybody. Sorry for the wait. What I'm going to be sharing today is some news that I received a couple days ago. As you know, Grow Pool has been sponsoring children since December. We've taken on sponsorship now of 8 children. We started with our first 2 children, half them in Gettysburg. You can see the children that we're sponsoring here in the image behind me. We're now sponsoring 8 children. So I want to say thank you to all of our stakeholders for even making this possible. This is really amazing. Thank you very much. So what I'm speaking to today is some trouble that Ethiopia is in as a country, and how the trouble that they are in is affecting our ability to sponsor these kids and for them to receive our sponsorships and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm going to start with here first is I'm going to read off an email that I received myself as someone who donates all the time to these guys and holding these sponsorships with Save the Children. Save the Children, of course, is in communication with us, okay? And they're telling us what's happening with the kids, and they're telling us what's happening in the country at large with Ethiopia, and they're letting us know up to date what to expect from our relationship with our sponsorships. So whenever you sponsor a child with Save the Children, okay, one of the unique things that we get to be able to do is communicate with them. We get to be able to write them letters. Anyone out there in the community as well who's a stakeholder with the pool is free to also make input, and we'll put those in letters that the children receive. So that's one of the things that Save the Children offers in their sponsorship relationship with the children, okay? And so because of the unrest and the political tension and military action that's been taking place recently in the region of central Tigray of Ethiopia, a lot of those communications aren't possible right now, okay? So I'm going to actually share an email that I received. I'll do a screen share here and read this with you so you guys can see for yourself. Please feel free to comment. and ask any questions. And I'm assuming that I can be heard. And anybody who's watching this can actually hear what I'm saying. Okay, go to this email here. Okay, so what you're seeing here is an email that I received from Save the Children. I received this email a couple of days ago now, and they're speaking to me specifically of Halfdom, okay, one of the first two children that we sponsored. But I'm expecting to see the same email for each of the children we're sponsoring, because all of the children that we sponsor are in the same region, okay, they're in the same area. That's a choice that we made as a pool community to make sure that we have the largest impact in our sponsorships and our support for these children. Okay, we're starting with a focus community in the Central Tigray region of Ethiopia, where these children are, and going out from there as we expand as an ecosystem. So here they're telling us, as you may have heard, the Central Tigray impact area has been affected by a law enforcement operation of the federal government. This has resulted in disruption to communication services, power lines, and transportation in and out of Central Tigray. Thankfully, there are no reported injuries to sponsored children or staff at this time. Our typical sponsorship programming has been paused, as well as routine sponsorship activities like letter writing. During this time, your generous sponsorship donations have enabled us to provide critical support to children through humanitarian response in sponsorship areas. These efforts have included distributing food and essential items, as well as deploying a mobile clinic to provide health services. Okay, so what I'm getting from what I'm gathering right now, I'm starting to do more research in what's happening. I'm going to share a different screen now. And stop share. I'm going to do a screen share on something that I found that I started doing research on. So I don't fully understand, right, how long this conflict has been in place. What is happening in the region? What is this unrest really all about? And what else can I do, not only as a pool operator and as a leader in this community, running this charity pool and helping these kids? What else can I do, and can I start to do for assisting these communities in this region and the country at large? Right? What else can be done? So I started getting curious first. I need to understand what's happening and get some perspective on the history of the region before I take any action at all. So what I discovered here was a pretty good article that I found. Share this here. Okay. So this article here is an article I found written by International Crisis Group. It was an article released on the 11th of February of this year, finding a path to peace in Ethiopia's Tigray region. Okay, so what these people are talking about in this article, and I'll list the link to this article in the description of the video later on. Okay, but this is it right here. So what they're talking about is what has been happening, what is happening now, and what are some of the actions that they believe, from everything they've been doing and understanding about this conflict, that can be taken for this area and for what's going on with everyone in this region. So finding a path to peace in Ethiopia's Tigray region. War has devastated Ethiopia's northernmost region. Pending comprehensive national dialogue, Addis Ababa should ease Tigray's immediate predicament, engaging elements of the authorities it unseated to govern the area and ensure that aid reaches the millions in need. Okay, so that's a statement that they're making about what they think needs to happen. Okay, coming down further here, what's happening, what's new. After weeks of fighting in Ethiopia's Tigray region, federal troops removed the regional government and declared victory. Yet thousands have died. Hundreds of thousands are at risk of starvation, and the conflict continues. Addis Ababa has established an interim administration, but ousted Tigrayan politicians say they will fight back. Why did it happen? Relations between Addis Ababa and Mekelle tanked after Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, hope I'm saying that right, took office in 2018, and Tigray's leaders lost federal power. tensions spiked when Tigray defied central authority by holding regional elections in September, culminating when Tigrayan forces captured the national military command in the region, triggering federal intervention. Okay, why does it matter? The conflict has poisoned relationships between Tigrayan and other Ethiopian elites and inflamed public opinion in Tigray against the federal authorities, who may well struggle to administer a restive region. If Addis Ababa's energies are drained by enforcing its rule on Tigray, other Ethiopian ethno-nationalist forces may be emboldened. What should be done? To get Tigray's public on side, Ababa should ensure that Eritrean and Amhara regional forces that participated in the intervention withdraw. It should also urgently allow aid to reach all Tigrayans who need it. Ultimately, inclusive dialogue is needed to address federal Tigray disagreements and wider disputes over regional autonomy. Okay, so the primary reason why I'm sharing this with you guys is to get some understanding around why the children that we're sponsoring cannot get our letters and why I haven't received a letter from them. The first letters I wrote to them were back in at the end of December when we started sponsoring Half Them and Get It To. And I noticed after about 2 months or 3 months or so, I wasn't receiving anything back. And now I understand what's going on, okay? There is a very big conflict in this region. The regional governments are being displaced by the central authority of Addis Ababa, who's apparently trying to create government and centralize government in a sense, as of what it appears is happening. Truth of the matter is, I don't fully understand the situation, and it's going to take some time, input from you guys. If any of you who are watching who understand this situation better, please comment either on the Twitter that I put, if you found us through there, right here in the comments of this YouTube live that I'm doing. Feel free to send me messages, whatever. I want to understand this situation better, and I want to understand how I can help more than I already am with this situation, okay? So again, as a recap on what I'm understanding so far, there is a political and military conflict that's happening in the region, the northernmost region of Ethiopia, specifically is what I'm speaking about, Central Tigray region, where our children that we sponsor, the 8 children that Growpool sponsors are, okay? And the impact that this is having on them, they're still receiving our aid. Our donations that we make every month for them, they still get that in the form of medical supplies, a mobile medical unit, and food for them, and clothing and shelter. They're being helped in that way, okay? But now they're being surrounded by entire communities, by staff members, by other regions around them that are also struggling because they're having trouble getting need, okay? They're getting their needs met in terms of supplies in from them. Save the Children obviously isn't able to do everybody in the region, right? They're focused specifically where they can be and where they're receiving these relationships from us as stakeholders within this ecosystem. So there's a lot of struggle in this region right now. And at this point, it's about understanding the conflict better and what we can do as an ecosystem. What can we provide, right? Can we help them with our technology? Can we help them by aligning ourselves with more charities in the region, right? Is that going to help? Are those charities going to be stifled by this conflict and not able to get the aid to the children that are being sponsored or to the other areas that the charities are working in, okay? So these are all concerns, obviously, and I'm bringing it to your attention because you've been following Growpool, you've been following our success as a charity pool, you've been following our success as sponsoring these children. We sponsor 8 children now, and we continue to sponsor children, 2 children every month for the rest of this year. I fully expect to be sponsoring 26 children by the end of this year, if not more, if possible, within the performance of the pool and the stake that all of you bring to us. That's why we're here, to grow and serve as many kids as possible. That's our mission. So thank you very much for that. So what I'm going to move over into now, as part of this AMA announcement here, a lighter topic. And I haven't seen any comments yet, but if anybody has any, please feel free to share. I'll go check in on what's being said on Twitter, if anything. Okay. All right. So hi, everybody. So I don't know how many of you finished or was able to catch any of the Cardano 360, the update. I think it was over 2 hours, almost 3 hours. It was a long update. There's a ton of information in there. So what I'm going to share with you are a few snapshots that I took of what was being shared in there. Of course, you know, the big news is when Alonzo, right? When Gauguin, when do we have all this rich technological density that we've been building for the last 3 to 5 years in the hands of developers that can actually build applications and bring utility to the ecosystem and to everybody else who's expecting that and who's been making investments in that and all that kind of stuff. My best metaphor for the situation that we're in here, I see Cardano as a diamond in formation. And I see it in the rough, right? It's still inside of that cavern of pressure and heat that turns carbon, coal into diamond, okay? And what's been happening here over the last few months, you've seen the price action, right? At the end of December, we were 20 cents. We went all the way up to $1.48, I think was our high, both through our all-time high. And you've seen it kind of settle into a correction and doing some accumulation now. So I think a lot of that is about some of the features that are out now and some of the cool things we can already do with the blockchain. But it's also what happens when something so incredible like this diamond that we're building here for the long term starts to roll out of the rough and it starts to sparkle. And people start to see what we've got here and how incredible this really is, okay? So I think that that's part of what we're seeing. And I think that after my impression, after watching Cardano 360, okay, this is my objective impression. Okay, I'm going to try, of course, I'm biased. I'm a major investor in Cardano. I'm a state co-operator. I believe in the project. I know we're not the only horse in the race. There are other really good projects out there right now, and everybody's doing the best that they can to be the best, right? And, which is awesome. And that's what I love to see, what I love so much about this community. My impression right now is that we're moving into really finalizing and formalizing the processes and the actual substance of the utility that we're bringing through Gauguin, okay? So that's going to ask for tremendous patience from our stakeholders. This isn't something that's going to pop out this month or even next month or the month after. We're looking at something that's going to be in the hands of the public, working within test nets by the end of June, early July, and then as a release in Gauguin and Alonzo somewhere between July and August, okay? That's a few months out. We know how crypto space is. People get bored fast. Things move quickly. Everybody turns their attention to the next big thing. And that's fine for us as a community. So that's my impression, and making sure that everybody who's looking at Cardano and wondering what the hell is going on and when is all this stuff going to happen, it's being built. It really is. It's happening in those spaces right now, and it's being built the right way because it's going to serve so many people with so many different things. It has to be done right. We can't be coming back around on the backside like Ethereum is trying to do right now with moving proof of work over to proof of stake, trying to bring in governance, dealing with their community, dealing with the greed, I would say, of some of the miners and how those gas fees have risen. There's a lot of that problem in that community right now. So we're learning from them and we're doing everything that we can to avoid some of the mistakes that they've made. And that means moving more slowly, more methodically, more carefully, more research-driven, science-based, so that we can do it right the first time as much as possible. There's always going to be improvements over time, but when we come out with this, we want it to be diamond grade. That's what this is about. So I'm going to move on to a few pictures that I snipped off of the Cardano 360 that I think you guys will appreciate. Okay. Now I can see my computer's working hard. Got all kinds of screens. I got 4 panels up. A lot of fun. And thanks everybody for watching. I see there's a few of you watching. John, welcome. Van, how you doing? Hi, everybody. John, speak to that. It was an almost 3-hour show, it looks like. And in the past, I have myself gone through the show and made a smaller, let's say in this case, 15, 20-minute segment that highlights the show and gives you timestamps, okay? I'd like to do that. I'm not going to promise that I'm doing that, but I'm going to say that I want to do that again. And so that you guys can see what happened, and I'll be able to present it to you in a nice link. To be all history very soon. Incredible how we can, yes, right, major accumulation window. Okay, so I'm going to share some cool pictures here to give you guys just some ideas of what's up and what to expect here. This is some highlighted pieces that I picked out of this. Okay. Screen share. Screen 2 share. Okay, so hoping you guys can see this. So what they did here is they organized all of the relationships that Cardano, IOHK have with developers, with oracles, with governments, with wallets, with programming languages, right? And so here we see up here the core organizations, as we know, Input Output, Emergo, and Cardano Foundation. We see who our Oracle partners are at the moment, Ergo and Wolfram Alpha. We see our developer ecosystem in our programming languages, Marlowe, Plutus, Solidity, Haskell, and Glow. We see our developer resources and what they have to their disposal right now. Right now, you can come into our developer ecosystem and start working with these things and building on them and learning how these things work and putting the pieces together. So when Goguen releases and Alonso's hard fork combinator event is done, you actually have something that you can run right there on the infrastructure that has now been integrated in on the node and begun its process of decentralization through the efforts of all the state cooperators. Our job is to take the code base that's being written and actually create a globally distributed blockchain. That's what we do. We run the node. That's been created by IOHK and everybody else who makes contributions, okay? So those releases and hard fork combinator events happen at a material level through the state cooperators and through the ecosystem that we and the infrastructure that we provide. And then everybody else is ready to build and root into that infrastructure. That comes on them, okay? And so the wallets that are available here, we know what a lot of those are. You can see them listed here in the image. Incubators and funding, our Project Catalyst, the most decentralized funding community for blockchain right now in the world. That's just such a great title to have. It's amazing to see all the energy coming through Catalyst. And thanks to everybody who's a part of this community for making that possible. Research and education. Where are we being used in those areas? Where is some of our papers being written and tested? Where is peer review happening, right? That's what all this is about here. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can move over to the next image. Ooh, la, la, la. Okay. Hi. You're really funny. My computer just can't handle giving me what I want at the moment. So in this image here, enterprise and business ecosystem, startups, deployments that are with us, New Balance, ScanTrust, VeeChain, I can see that our metadata features that came out late last year and early this year are already in deployment and being utilized by some of these projects out here. We have the governments that we're aligning with and some of the excitement that we're expecting there. And to kind of speak a little bit, a moment on a speculation I'm going to make here. Okay, I suspect that the birdie that we were hearing about, okay, about this 5 million users from some country in Africa coming on, and we're ready, and we were just waiting for a PR release from them. Okay, I suspect that country is Ethiopia. Okay, that's my guess at this point. I think that's been said already, and whether it is or not, okay, there's been obviously a lot of work in that country for use case for us, okay, for digital identity and economic identity through the Thales products, Thales Prism. If I had to guess, one of the reasons we haven't seen a PR release from that country about their relationship with us, okay, well, that we were expecting to see sometime this month, I think, the beginning to the sometime in the month of March, has to do with what Ethiopia is experiencing right now. Has to do with the conflict that they're in. Has to do with the political unrest that's happening in that country. I think that they're distracted by that, right? They're consumed and perhaps overwhelmed by that. That's my guess, if I had to guess at what was happening in that space. So I just wanted to speak to that. Come back over here, see if I can get this other image to display. Okay. All right. See Van's comment, Charles will slay Microsoft, Apple, and Facebook. He certainly has a genius for it. And I think that the community that is behind that kind of genius, that stays with it, that believes in it, will be very successful in achieving that. All right, let me get over here to a stop share. Okay. So I've said most of what I wanted to say to everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in here, and for your questions and some of the comments that I saw. Again, what this show was really about for everybody was the news that I received that the children that we're sponsoring in Ethiopia were already in trouble. Okay, they already needed our help as a charity. And now not only are they in more trouble than they were before, but their surrounding communities, the infrastructure that supports them, and the other people of the region of Central Tigray. So just take a moment in your day, in your thoughts, and send whatever you can in prayer and vibration and love and well wishes for this region. Please give me feedback in what you understand and what you know about what's happening in Ethiopia. Ideas for what you think we can do as a community of Cardano, as a pool community sponsoring these kids, and just really stay present to what's happening and not be impatient with what's going on right now in that region and its impacts on our gains and on the perception of the success of the project. This is a very complex situation. The human beings are involved, technologies involved, businesses are commercial, the whole range, very multidimensional. And everything that I've seen says that we've got the community, the know-how, the power, the love, and the vision to make a positive difference and to bring these areas what they've been wanting for, what they've been starving for. And so I'm not giving up. I have every intention, like I said before, to travel to Ethiopia at the end of this year in the month of November, and get on the ground, do whatever I can to assist with these communities more directly. I'm going to come with a team, a group of us are planning this trip together. I want to meet the kids. Meeting the kids nowadays is much more complicated because of pandemic and COVID and all these things. It makes it very difficult, if not impossible, for the time being. So I'm hoping that by the time November comes around, things will open up and it will allow us the luxury of being able to meet these kids, seeing how they're doing, spend some time with them. By then, we will have 26 children, 24, 26 children that we're sponsoring within these communities. I wouldn't be surprised if they're all neighboring and very close to each other, and we get to meet them all at the same time. That would be amazing. Of course, I fully plan on coming out and doing as much live streaming and sharing from there as I can with the technology that's available to me at the time that I'm there. All right, I'm seeing some comments. Getting contract signed won't be easy. Thank you for the continued inspiration. You're the man. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you and your presence in the chat. And obviously, you can see me and hear me, and all those things are working. Yeah, unless anybody has any other questions, I'll check and see if I'm proud to be a long-term growth support. All my efforts are in Rwanda with my sponsor kids, and while drilling, I use a portion of my rewards for similar sponsorships. That's awesome. Thanks so much, John. We're all doing this together. Like I said, any ideas or feedback about what's going on in Ethiopia, I want to learn more about what's happening so I can understand better what can be done, right? And not just charity. What else can we do, right? I'm completely open to that and very receptive. Okay, so please feel free to chime in that way. I'll go check here real quick with Twitter and make sure that we don't have any comments that need to be addressed there. Has it not always been in trouble by Western standards? Yeah, somebody commented on Twitter. Has Ethiopia not always been in trouble by Western standards? I think our perception is yes, and of course that also comes from us maybe not really understanding what that means, right? The West is such a different world. We're such a different culture. Our standards are so different. The quality of life here is very different than it is there. And so it's easy to project and assume that they're the ones who need help, that they are the ones who need the hand down, right? It could very well be in a way that we just cannot fathom or understand, the complete opposite, that they are advanced spiritual beings on a journey that is carrying us to a greater level of compassion and understanding. So I do not pretend to be the savior. I do not pretend to be the one who knows what is better for people. I do not. What I do is I listen and I respond to the best of my ability to be compassionate, to try to end suffering and pain, to try to bring support and love and nurturance and energy to these communities that they are asking for. Not that I think that they need and that I'm projecting that they need, but that they're really asking for. Okay, that's my mission. So I hope that answers your question. That's Renoid3000 over on Twitter. Thanks so much, everybody, for chiming in. I'm going to go ahead and sign off now. And I look forward to hearing more what you guys have to say and doing more of these and staying in touch with you with what's happening with the kids that we're sponsoring. I'm going to have to get a bigger frame. So we're going to have a lot more kids soon. And I really hope I get to meet them at the end of this year. at the very least, I hope that the conditions in the region improve, but it's not going to do it by itself. It's going to take a collective effort. We are a part of that. Grow Pool's a part of that. Cardano's a part of that. You are a part of that, where you're a stakeholder in this pool or not. We're all in our own ways contributing to the greater common good. So